So I'm going to start making the topics that I want, to be more publicized in English, just for the notice. Um, but yeah, I got today's today's reflections after 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 the night and just like write down what I'm grateful for, and then um starting to follow the, I guess you could say, the constituents in Islam a lot more seriously. I came up with this one thing specifically in terms of work in general. Because I feel like as a high school senior, we're starting to try to look for jobs, or at least what's up for us in the job market. So I kind of wanted to make this, and I was also thinking about that. And I'm probably gonna talk about this either with my parents because they might know this, or maybe even a friend because I think that might help, just to clarify the thoughts. But this is what I was having in mind in terms of that. It's there's there's this thing about where it goes around, just being hardworking, intelligent, and then this lazy and intelligent. I don't really think that is because look, I think like lazy and intelligent isn't really the best thing. I would say ignorant and intelligent, in something around those lines, as in ignorant and intelligent, whereas hardworking and intelligent. Those are two different things. The hardworking and intelligent person will know how to get the job done, but will do the job as whatever it is. So like you can give them a job, it'll be the most like wasteful of time, and they will do it. They will do it at a very high level, but it's overall just a waste of time. So like let's say on an average work day, or actually I'll talk a little bit about what I was doing at the time um of the ebook. But no ego here. Just want to be open clarity here. So I was making the ebook during the pandemic. I think I was what, 4 or 5 hours on the computer and just like claiming I was doing a lot of like good work. Actually, it wasn't. Like I would say 3.5 hours of that was like going through emails, reading them and writing back to people who are important. Trying to find the context that were important, so to get feedback and reiterate. And then maybe 2 hours was actually researching and drafting what I wanted to write in the article to create the nano stories. So in there, like I would say only what, two hours, 2 hours of actually like work that was meaningful, and then 3.5 hours, something like that, was stuff that I probably could, if I had the if I had the opportunity or money, like ask someone to do it for me. I think that it just changes your mind. It's just, for me, it just blows my mind that sorry, that hardworking and intelligent, that's what gets you, it gives you the results. But sometimes I feel like you do have to be a little bit ignorant. There's so much information now in this world today that you have to decide what to be ignorant about. Like no, you don't have all the time in the world to consume all the information. So you don't have all the time in the world to consume, oh, what's the latest fashion trend, or who won the NFL game, or the Premier League game. You don't, and then you may not have all the time in the world to go through, oh, what are we going to have a 17th particle in the standard model? Like, we don't have all the time in the world to consume all that information. So there are some things you will have to be ignorant about and forget about them. And then maybe if a friend or an acquaintance or a family member brings it up, okay, there you go. But I think that's just what kind of separates that, is what are you willing to be ignorant and just like absolutely forget about it. Whereas the hardworking person, will do all he can, try and get everything, that try and consume as much, or just trying to get the job done. And then in terms of work, like the ignorant, intelligent person will identify, okay, what is actually work that matters? Because let's say, for an example, with emails, like, okay, maybe someone wants to sponsor you in an email. You could, probably could be transacting from there, but I think that probably wouldn't be the best use of your time if, unless, like, let's say you've been working on, I don't know, book or a YouTube channel for a good while, then maybe, that would definitely help a lot. However, I just don't see that, it's a good use of time, especially going 1 or 2 hours to the Gmail. Um, and it's kind of like, like going through grammar for language, especially as a beginner. It's like each grammar session is like an email. Like, if you dive so much into it, into the grammar, at least specifically using the example as an email, it's like if you dive into the grammar, once you try and speak the target language, there's this thing that's called the monitor hypothesis in the language, which basically means if you learn the grammar first instead of speaking, or like learn acquiring how to speak first. Yeah. So if you acquire the grammar first and then the ability to speak, you will monitor every single word in the sentence that you want to try and say, but you won't actually get it out of your mouth. Whereas, if someone just picked up words naturally and just did it from there, they wouldn't really care if they did it wrong. If you can't be perfect, at least be authentic. So, so that's another thing. Because perfection is impossible. So the next best thing you can do is just be real, be authentic. And what's it called? So yeah, like, yeah, exactly. So that's also, so going back to the monitor hypothesis with grammar and email. So when you monitor all that, it's harder for you to actually make meaningful use of what you're trying to do. So then you're like, oh well, now I can't speak it. Like, so who cares? It's the same thing with email. It's like diving too much into this work, or like these things that don't really compound over time, and doing it for so much longer rather than actually creating the stuff that will propel you forward. What are you doing? Because at the end of the day, you'll be, oh well, I'm not doing any progress, so I don't want to do anything. No, like, it shouldn't be like that. You So that's the other thing. Is also with that is, if you really 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 care about that stuff, like, the emails, the grammar, whatever. So going back to the same thing, if you love grammar, if you're a grammar freak, browse it as if you were, I don't know, browsing like what Netflix show to watch. It's like maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then just if you at least know which ones are the most important ones, maybe if it's an email from a colleague or from a very important newsletter, uh like the James Clear one, or Morning Brew, or the Download from MIT, whatever. There's plenty of other newsletters out there. Those are just the ones that I see on my email all the time. Like those, yes. Or maybe if you're a college or a high school student and you have colleges, yes, those are the most important. Open those. You shouldn't be opening every single one. Like, I would say only like 10 sites 10 sites in your email list are the ones that you should open. The rest, like, find a way to unsubscribe or whatever. Like, those don't matter. So, and the same thing with grammar. It's like, if you love grammar, just browse. Just stop wasting your time in grammar. If you really care about it, what, 5 minutes a day? Go ahead. Like, you can just like, maybe pick a thing or two. After that, that's it. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. What you should be doing is figuring out the ability to speak. Same thing with work productivity, or not productivity, but just like reducing your figuring out the difference between hardworking and intelligent versus the ignorant and intelligent, is just figuring out what to just cut out in general, to yield the best amount of results with the most amount of time you can spare, because the ideal would be, like, a better work-life balance. And although, like, we're probably getting closer to there, I think the best thing we can start is obviously individually. Like, we can reduce the things that that don't really matter. Like, one thing would be maybe browsing emails, calls, unless like that's part of your job. Sorry, then yes. But for a high school student, like, like me, and then maybe for other people in general, maybe probably are working from home, like emails and all that stuff, like you can get that from a friend or whatever. And that's also another thing is you don't if some people are consuming a lot of content from something, you don't really need to do it. You don't really need to do it yourself. So like for example, there's a Netflix show I haven't watched yet. I just ask either a friend or someone random, like, hey yo, like tell me about this. I'm interested. And yes, I am definitely interested. However, you know, they will tell me everything because they watched it. So I don't really need to, waste my time to do it. I already have a bunch of like minions who do it for me. That's another thing. And that's also another trick is let's say you want to know something about yeah, let's say you want to know maybe a fact or whatever about a certain topic. Corner a nerd about that topic and make him speak. There you go. That's the best way, one of the best ways to gather new information. It's just corner a nerd and let him speak. So like and just let him speak. And so much information. There's like just so much content, to stimulate, the conversation. And that's also another thing. Hey, you get a free conversation out of that, and you get a I don't know, free hour out of that. And if you want to follow up, go ahead. But I think that's also another good way if you really want to get new information. And as I mentioned, I think I've mentioned this a lot of times, but people are important. Which brings me to another point, which was if everything were to get deleted, what would technically be the only thing that matters? So, like for example, let's take the ebook again. That's on a site called Medium. Let's say Medium, I don't know, got wiped off the web. All right, that content of nanotechnology that I wanted to leave there, for kids, which I probably might come back to and turn it into something new, you know. But if that were to go away, then it's like, did that really matter or no? It's like you want something that will stay with you for the long term. So at the end of the day, when I think about it, the only thing that kind of matters is people. I think at the end of this terrifying and I guess like full of lies world, the only thing that we have are the people, the connections we make. Because I mean, some people are going to be some. I know one of you who are watching this is going to make the argument of, but even humans can be wiped off of the earth. All you got to do is shoot them or whatever. I don't know, or get a disease. Okay, so I think like with I mean with that it comes you stay with memories, and I think those don't die away as long as you're still alive. Whereas with online information, once that's wiped, that's wiped. You know, unless like there's I'm pretty sure there's probably some stored on the internet where you can get that back, but no. So I think like at the end of the day, all you have are the memories, the connections, and the yeah the memories, connections, family, friends, whatever you want to call it. All we have are those. Those are the those are the people we make. You just want to find out what else compounds in the long run, and what's worth worrying about in a year. So like if you're still wondering, like there's a bunch of things I wanted to do and get done. One thing I would definitely say is, what will you be still worrying about in a year? If if you still want to worry about that in a year, there you go. That's what you should be, like trying to, you make a good use of your time. If you're not going to worry about that in a year, it's a distraction. So like you should be ignorant to that. Keep going. So be ignorant and intelligent. Don't be hardworking intelligent. But however, I'm gonna be a college or I'm gonna be high school. I'm a high school senior. Shit. Fuck me. I'm gonna be a high school senior and finish up high school in 6 months. So, technically for me, I could say, oh, I'm not gonna worry about college applications in a year. Fair enough. But, for the high school senior transition secure. Maybe still be worrying about colleges, maybe what, 3, 4 months. So, you also do want to break it down into smaller consumable steps. So, what will you be still worrying about in a month? Start with there. About a month. If you really can do a month, week, day, hour, whatever. Because some people we all got crap in our lives that we gotta fix. And some of us, are just broken people. But we just try and keep up a happy face with it. And if anyone out there is broken, out there, I think that one thing is just write a bit of gratitude. I think that maybe you may be broken, maybe your life's pieces, but you're still here, you're still alive, right? And I'm still here. So as long as I keep making these videos, don't worry. Gratitude is plays along a big thing. But yeah, that's also the the that was the next point that I also wanted to bring up. Um, Geez, now I forgot it. Um, oh yeah. So the last point in terms of the hardworking and intelligent versus the ignorant and intelligent, specifically just was was figuring out literally what is the most important. Like what would you want to be ignorant about in a week, in a month, or in a year? I think that's also the one of the other best techniques to figure out what would be what would be the best to be ignorant about. So yeah, those are all my tips or just my thoughts and reflections of the topic at the moment. Um, if I do have any, I'll probably just throw it in the comment section or maybe just make another video on this, like a little clip. But yeah, I actually kind of like make these little clips. Uh, yeah, I don't know how. I'll try and as I said, I'll try and make the other content in other languages to be available. But for now, I'm probably just going to stick to English. But if it's a topic that maybe is more specific to a region or maybe a culture, then I'll make it in that language, or at least in the languages I know. So that will be that. Um, but yeah, like I guess just to summarize, well, actually no, I think that was good enough. But yeah, and oh yeah, writing tip, writing tip, especially for gratitude. Now that because I finally just came back. But for writing tips specifically for gratitude, if you have to make a summary of, you have to make a summary of what you wrote, a summary or conclusion, are you doing it for yourself, or were you not able to, or will your reader or your viewer, whatever, won't understand what you were trying to say? Because if you need a summary to do it, then you could have redone the whole video, or you could have condensed it into a tweet. So that's also another thing, and this is kind of gonna backfire on these videos because I know they're unedited, but yeah, whatever. So, but yeah, that's all I got. Anyways, see you a couple days.